Good morning, everybody. It's Matt Modi here with OddsJam. Let's get some DFS plays out there for today. So I will be using OddsJam, using the positive EV page as well as the OddsJam screen to find some good player props to add for DFS plays for today, specifically Friday, December 16th. Hey, it's Friday. So the platforms that I'm going to be using are PrizePicks, Underdog, Monkey Knife Fight. Those are the main three. Coming up with plays for you guys for those three platforms. So for the first one that I'll do is Monkey Knife Fight. I have a 2-leg player prop entry for you guys specifically on Monkey Knife Fight. So if you don't use Monkey Knife Fight, it's very similar to PrizePicks, Underdog, Thrive, in that it's basically like you're hoping to hit player prop parlays. The more you add, the higher your payouts. So for a 2-leg one, you get the implied odds for an individual leg of minus 137, right? For a 2-leg one, you double your money. So if you're able to find plays that have implied odds and from the actual sports books, like the sharp ones that price odds individually, like if you're able to find plays that those sportsbook deem likely to occur, that would be a good play to add. So let me talk about kind of what I mean when I say that. So in this column here, you see no vig odds. This is very important. So these odds they're pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world in terms of pricing odds. So OddsJam backtested thousands and thousands of actual betting opportunities, not DFS plays, but actual betting opportunities, and use that data to determine what sports books over the course of time historically do the best job at pricing odds. And then they use those sports books to basically set the line and then try to find other sports books, the not so sharp ones, that are giving you more favorable odds than the sharp ones, than the no vig line here. So for DFS plays specifically, for a 2-leg entry that has the implied odds of minus 137, which is what we have here for Monkey Knife Fight, anywhere in which those sharp sportsbooks that I talked about price a play to be more likely to occur than minus 137 would be a good play to add to your Monkey Knife Fight entry. And here's exactly what I'm talking about. So this play here is Kyrie Irving over 2.5 player-made threes. So the sharpest sports books in the world price this play at about minus 143, right? Just below minus 143 and a half. And we know that the implied odd, the individual leg, the implied odds of one player prop for Monkey Knife Fight is minus 137. You hit both of these player props, you double your money. For one leg, that means the implied odds are minus 137. So because the sharp sports books deem this play more likely to occur than minus 137 at minus 143, it's a good player prop to add. And one thing that I like to do with these player props, and I find this fascinating, I don't know if everybody else does, just because I'm a math guy, but all odds have an implied win percentage associated with them. So in this case, as you remember, the no vig odds were minus 143.39. So if you click this calculator here, it pulls up the win percentage based on those odds. So basically the minus 143 equates to a win percentage just under 59%, telling us that Kyrie Irving is going to go over this 3-point total roughly 59% of the time. So the sports books are telling us this bet is almost 60% likely to occur. Well, that makes it a great play to add to a Monkey Knife Fight selection, an entry. So this is going to be the first leg, Kyrie Irving over 2.5 player-made threes. The next one, similar market. This time we're fading a player. We're taking Buddy Hield to go under 3.5 made threes. So again, we have the implied odds of minus 137. And the odds on this one are very similar at minus 143.27. So you open up this calculator. Again, it gives you the implied odds just below 59%, roughly 59.89%. So this is the play that you should lock in on Monkey Knife Fight. Kyrie Irving over 2.5 made threes, Buddy Hield under 3.5 made threes. You hit both those plays, you double your money. The beauty of these DFS platforms. Now for PrizePicks, I have 2 legs that I found using the positive EV page. Then I also found a bunch of plays using the OddsJam screen that I will talk about. Number 1, so PrizePicks, you have like 2, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 leg entries. Obviously, the more legs you add, the higher your payout is. So if you do a 2-leg one on PrizePicks, it's the same thing as Monkey Knife Fight. You double your money. If you do a 5-leg one, you literally 20x your money. You literally 20x your money. So the implied odds of an individual leg for PrizePicks is only -119, but you're putting in 5 plays. So obviously your risk is higher because you're adding 3 more plays. But if you hit, it's incredibly more profitable. So the implied odds for a 5-leg one I mentioned are -119, and I have 2 of them that I found using the positive EV page. The first one is this Mason Plumlee under 10.5 rebounds, implied odds of -119, no vig line of -125, profitable play, giving us a win percentage of about 55.68%. Here's your first leg. Mason Plumlee, Miles is his brother, under 10.5 rebounds. Next up, we're looking at Jason Tatum, under 3.5 made threes. So the implied odds on this one are just about -120. PrizePicks has it at -119, giving us a win percentage just below 55% at 54.54. So 54.54% chance we hit this Jason Tatum one. That is the second leg for my 5-leg PrizePicks entry. The next 3 I found using the OddsJam Screen. So let me zoom in a little bit more here. So the OddsJam Screen requires a little bit more digging than the positive EV page, but it gives you access. You can find an even more wide variety of plays if you are using the OddsJam Screen. So the way it works is you click a market. In this case, I have NBA, and the market is player points, and it pulls up where every single sportsbook is pricing odds for a player. And the goal here is to find discrepancies amongst the sportsbooks. So PrizePicks are these 2 columns right here. Underdog is the last 2. So we want to look for examples where PrizePicks has some sort of mispriced line compared to the rest of the sportsbooks. So let's scroll down here and see. So the play that I liked, that I was going to lock in here, was in the Toronto versus Brooklyn game, although they might have removed him. Let's see if they still have it. Yes, okay, so they do. So Pascal Siakam, the play is Pascal Siakam to go over 23.5 points on PrizePicks as my 3rd leg. So the reason why I like this one, so PrizePicks prices this at 23.5. Look at every other book, including Underdog. They have it at 24.5. Another reason why I like it, look at so let me actually back up here. So when you're looking at player props on the screen, there are 2 books that you want to look for as kind of sharp books to set the market. So basically, if your PrizePicks play is an outlier to these 2 sports books, then you're good. Number 1 is this OddsJam line here. This is pulled from Pinnacle. Pinnacle is the sharpest sports book in the world. So you give this the heaviest weight. Not only do they price this a point higher at 24.5, but they heavily favor it going over. They have the over priced at -144. So you can see here, the under priced at +107. Heavily favoring it going over, heavily. DraftKings is the second one that you want to compare to. They have the over priced at -125, the under priced at -105. Not as big as the Pinnacle one, but they're still pretty decently favoring it to go over. As is the rest of the market, right? BetRivers, -121 versus -106 towards the under. Caesars, over at -127, under at -108. FanDuel, same thing. So every single sportsbook is pricing this play 1 point higher than what PrizePicks is at 23.5. The rest of the sportsbooks are pricing it at 24.5, and the majority of them are favoring it going over 24.5. So this 23.5 is an awesome value. My 3rd leg for PrizePicks specifically. The 4th one is in the same game, Toronto versus Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving to go over 22.5 points. Pretty much the same logic here. Every other sportsbook that prices it above this number, and the majority of them still favoring it going over. Pinnacle, not as big of a favorite towards the over as the previous one, right? The over at -116, the under at -114. Still favoring it going over, still a point higher. DraftKings, pretty heavily favoring it going over. So those 2, check those 2 boxes. And then the rest of the markets. BetRivers, Caesars, FanDuel, all favoring him going over 23.5 points again. And we got it at 22.5. So this is my 4th leg. And then the 5th one that I was going to lock in here, RJ Barrett going over 19.5 points. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. You guys get the point by now. DraftKings and Pinnacle, both favoring it going over, both by a pretty heavy amount at minus 130 each way. The under on DraftKings plus 100, minus 102 on Pinnacle. Heavily favoring it going over, as is Caesars, as is FanDuel. So similar logic here. RJ Barrett as my fifth and final PrizePicks player props. That's 5 PrizePicks player props for you guys. That's 2 Monkey Knife Fight player props for you guys. And then for underdog, the one play that I found was Joel Embiid under 10.5 rebounds. This was on underdog. So if you have an underdog play that you like, add that Joel Embiid one to it and you'll be profitable. But that's all I got for you guys. So there's 8 sharp player props for you guys for these DFS websites. So if you're tailing any and all of these, comment and let me know. But that's it. So appreciate you guys watching and have a good one.